the case, Nairobi Cemetery land scandal took close to 10 years for us to get a conviction. If at all those suspects had been denied bail, it means they would have been in remand for that long. Do you think it's fair enough? Because this time round, that then could be the reality for these 40-plus suspects who've been denied bail. If at all the High Court upholds that decision, does it mean that we could actually see, because yes, it's still not time-bound, it could go on for years?
I think there's really the possibility that that could happen, because we really have to look at the tools that are available and the extent to which, as we look at the Constitution and the rights therein, we also need to remember that that very Constitution does indicate to us that integrity is a very, very key expectation and requirement. Our famous Chapter 6, which unfortunately, because sometimes we tend to be much bigger in pronouncements and in seeking to politicize even what should be a very simple interpretation of the law. And I remember that when the president came to the National Assembly recently, in his address he did talk to the National Assembly and remind us, all of us as leaders, that we need to recognize that we are in whatever leadership position to serve the people, and our tool of reference, our major framework of reference is the Constitution, and then we need to be thinking of how to come up with laws that allow, you know, the rights of Kenyans to be met. And so what I would want to come back to when I raised the issue of looking at how we can deal with corruption, I am aware that the Constitution gave us room to come up with the institutional frameworks. We do have in place a number of those institutions, but they don't seem to be working. So similar to the point that we are raising right now, it seems that Kenyans have known that it's the way to go is to get what you can. You know, either you're talking about tenders or you're talking about, you know, NYS now has just become something that is the order of the day. And so to get back to the question, I really do believe that if we are going to seriously talk about graft, because we already have the institutions, I think we already have now the legal framework seeking to reflect. We are not going to give them bail, but like you say, you can't do that forever, and there is no time frame. And I still believe, therefore, that we need to get back to an administrative framework. I really do think that there is a sense in which the president, as the one in command, beyond indicating that now we are going to make a difference, needs to see what we can do to change the organizational culture. Kenya has developed as a country a culture where graft is celebrated. And if you look even at the countenance of our colleague, my PS Lillian, and you look at the facial expression of Ngiritas, it doesn't look like there's anything wrong. They seem to be, in a manner of speaking, celebrities. So I think that we have
they are in relative comfort.
Yes, in relative comfort. And this, in spite of all these legal frameworks, institutional pronouncements by the head of state. So there's a sense in which we need to take a very serious look at the country and the manner in which, in terms of the values, in terms of the practices, we seem to be celebrating graft.
Yes.